afternoon, everyone. My name is Chesley, C-H-E-S-L-E-Y. That is Chesley. Chesley, we're happy to have you here today. You're not going to tell a Bible story. You're going to tell a Bible story. Can you tell us anywhere about where it is? Well, I can after I flirt. After you flirt, well, first let's find out what you've been doing. I mean, you know, I've heard you kind of seem like a little noise going on there in your trunk. I was fighting termites. Fighting termites? Chesley, you just said this again and again. And you know what? Them things invisible to you, they may be invisible to me, and I don't know how that could be. If you can see them, I should be able to see them. No, because they're just for me to see. Chesley, well, let's don't even talk about this. This makes no sense. You know what I'm going to do next? No, what are you going to do next? There's no telling what you're going to do next. I wonder sometimes what you're going to do next. Well, you're the one pulling the strings. You ought to know. But Chesley, there's things fall out of your head that I don't have any idea it's going to until it happens. Sounds to me like you're not in control. Chesley, let's don't go down this rabbit hole. It's not a rabbit hole. I'm just telling you the truth. What's going on here, Chesley? Let's talk about it. I'm going to talk about the girls. Did you check my strings? Yes, I checked your strings. Your eyes are working, and let's see, we've got to make sure. Oh, yeah, I want to make sure the eyes are else. The girls know I love them. The girls know you love them. Could you say, welcome to everyone? Welcome to one and to all. And Chesley is here, and we're going to talk about Daniel. Daniel was a wonderful man of God, and you know, he was captured. And what wicked thing did he do? He didn't do anything wicked. He did a good thing, but he was captured, he and along with some of his friends, but they remained true to the Lord. And did they try to change them? Yes, they tried to change them. They wanted to make them to be like the Chaldeans. They wanted them to do whatever the king said, to worship idols and do things that they knew were against what God, the one true God, wanted them to do. And how were they faithful? It's just they had settled it in their heart. In fact, it was said of David that he had just settled it in his heart. He was going to do what God wanted, and that was it. And you know, Chesley, that's a good thing for us to do, a good lesson for us. Well, anyway, and so it got in good places. Well, the king noticed that him and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, those sure are crazy names. Well, they are a little bit strange to us, but to them they were normal names. But anyway, you know, the thing was, they were true and faithful no matter what happened. When the king noticed about them, were they on drugs? No, they were not on drugs. Many in their land may have been. Here was these boys that had been taken as prisoners. And were they mad? No, they didn't get mad and throw fits. They just knew that the Lord had a plan for them wherever they were. And the king noticed about them, they're just different. And they were obedient. They were not disobedient, right? They were obedient. They did the right things. Did they either do wrong? They chose not to do wrong. They were just going to be faithful. In fact, it was said of them, especially in Daniel, they said, this man continually serves God. We're going to talk about that, aren't we? Because Daniel got in some big trouble. Daniel got into some big trouble. But God was faithful, and just like he is to us. But let's just tell just a little bit what happened about this deal. And so he was the last man. Well, the king saw how good there was something. These Daniel and these three boys, they were just, why we would say, a cut above the rest. We talked about cutting. Well, Chesley meant they were just different. They were just, you had to set them apart. They just stood out. They were so good, kind, honest. They were just the kind of person you want. They were dependable, somebody you could count on. But he took Daniel and he said, this man is one of the best people I've seen. And he promoted them above all of the presidents, everybody. I mean, Daniel was in charge, and they didn't like it. And they just got all jealous, and what are they going to do? They're going to be mean to him? Well, they said, we've got to do something. This guy never breaks the law, so we can't get him on that. Well, that's a good thing. He didn't break the law. He's not going to get in trouble. Well, if you don't break the law, if you do the right thing, and he did the right thing, and so he should line them out. Well, it wasn't a matter of lining them out. They got together, and you mean they cheated? Well, they did. They cheated, and they said, we're never going to get him on anything about the law. He always keeps the law. And so what are they going to do? Make a new one? That's what they decided. They said, it's going to have to be something about this worship of his God that he says is the one true God. And so they come up with an old wicked plan. That's what they did. They got together and they said, you know what? He prays 3 times a day. That's a bunch of times. He was so devoted to the Lord, and he lived. Now, he was not in his own country. So he was lonely. Probably he would call out to the Lord. He would talk to God. And that was a good thing for him. It made him happy, and the Lord just blessed him where he was, and he was a blessing to others. But those men were so jealous. They weren't thinking about his goodness, his kindness, how good he was to them. It was just, they didn't like him. They were so jealous of him. And so they said, let's just make a law. Go to the king and see if he will sign this law that we would like to make, that you can't pray to anybody, ask any petitions of anybody but the king for 30 days. Dude, what? That makes no sense. You're going to be praying to the king? Well, that was almost what it was, really, was praying to the king. He was just the only one that could do anything. Well, they knew what Daniel was going to do. You know what I think they went and did? I think they got a recorder. Well, no, they didn't have those recordings. What they did, they went and they got right under his window, because they knew what Daniel was going to do. He was going to pray, and he was going to get himself in trouble. Well, Chesley, he wasn't a coward. He just was going to be honest and true. He loved God, and that's what he was going to be, just what he always was. Continually serving the Lord. He was that kind of a guy. So he opened his windows. I think he should keep his windows shut, and that way they won't hear him. But he always did open his windows. So he didn't want to change anything. He just knew God was going to use him at this time. People could see God gave him strength. God gave him strength to do that. And he prayed 3 times a day. And they said, oh, goody, goody, gumdrops, we got him, he's in trouble. That's what they thought. He's in big trouble. They went running to the king. And they said, King, you know what? Well, the king said, what? They said, something is really bad wrong. Something's really bad wrong. The king said, what in the world could it be? And then that's when they said, you know what, Daniel, that you think is so great? You know what he did? He's a lawbreaker. A lawbreaker. They were saying he was a lawbreaker. What do you mean? Daniel is a wonderful man. Oh, they began to tell him, well, that new law that you signed, we brought it to you and you signed it? Well, Daniel broke it. He's been praying. Oh, and the king knew what had happened. They had tricked him. They had tricked him. In a sense, it was his pride. When they said, nobody could pray to anybody but you, king, that really lifted him up. And he liked that. He didn't even think about anybody else but just himself. And now he had a really bad trouble. Because we didn't mention what was the penalty if you did pray to anyone other than the one true God. You got thrown in the lion's den. I can't stand it. It's just too scary. Well, Chesley, you just will turn around. No, I can't take it. It's just awful. Chesley, turn around. Nothing has happened. They're going to crunch you up like Kentucky Fried Chicken. Chesley, turn around. And what happened then? And so Daniel was brought before the king, and sure enough, he had done, as far as what they said, he had violated the king's law. And then he didn't violate the one true God's law. He didn't violate that law. He knew he had honored the Lord. And they said, the king said, well, you have to be through the lion's den. That's a terrible thing to be thrown into the hungry lions are in there. But then he said something. Daniel, the one true God that you serve continually. Oh, I think that's a great testimony. That's a testimony like we want to have. He continually served God. It wasn't just when he got in trouble, or it wasn't just when things were going good. He continually served God. Good days, bad days, just all the time. I think that's being a consistent Christian. That's being a consistent living for the Lord. And so the king said, the God that you serve continually, you've been so faithful. He'll take care of you. They took Daniel down, threw him into the lion's den. I can't stand it. I can't face it. Chesley, come on. Nobody wants to see the back of your head. I don't want the girls to see me crying. Chesley, you don't have to cry. So all night long, the king could not sleep. All he could think of was, I thought he had faith. Well, he wanted to have faith, but he couldn't help but have some doubts about. He knew how big and strong those lions were. They were so hungry and they was going to eat him up. That's what he was thinking about. He thought this night will never end, probably. And finally he went down real early in the morning, and he went out and he cried out, oh, Daniel, Is the God that you serve continually, was he able to deliver you? Daniel said, oh, let me tell you something, King. God just came and shut the lion's mouth. Oh, King, I am safe. The king was so happy. Oh, he just, get him out of there, he said. What about those lions? Did they get sick or something? Well, God just closed their mouths and they couldn't do anything. And so they was there, then they couldn't even eat him. They couldn't eat him. I mean, I don't think they lost their appetite or the angel just came and closed their mouths. Did anything, nothing happened to Daniel. Nothing happened. Daniel was brought out and the king was so rejoicing. And he had such faith and trust in God now. He began to tell people this one true God that Daniel serves. And so he believed in him. I mean, there was no doubt about it. He knew that Daniel's God was real. And what about those old guys that lied? Those guys that lied? Did they really? God, I don't know if we can say they lied, but they did come up with this awful law. They were really wicked men. They were taken, and along with their families, that's what's terrible, and thrown into the lion's den. And they got crunched it. Yes, Chesley, all of a sudden, the lions' mouths were loosed. And, it's just terrible. I can't stand to hear the screaming. Chesley, we can't hear the screaming. It's okay. Turn around, Chesley. They're going to think I'm a sissy. The girls think I'm a sissy. Well, the girls, they might think you're a sissy, but too, they're thinking maybe that you have compassion. But at any rate, the land realized, as the king stood faithful with Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and now the others, they're scared now. They're scared to tell him. They're scared to tell on him, come up with anything else. Chesley, it's a wonderful story, but what about us? We need to take our stand for the Lord too and be faithful to him. If we're going to live for him, then let's live for him. Be faithful and true. Daniel was a man of fear. Daily prayed he 3 times. And they cast him in the lion's den. And the lions could not harm him. They could not harm him. Even then, in the den, fears could not alarm him. God just shut the lion's mouth, and they could not eat him. They could not eat him. All right, Chesley, that story was from Daniel chapter 6, and we're delighted we could do this. And remember who this is that's telling the story today. What is the name of this ministry? Wholesome Communication. Wholesome Communication. And your name is Karen Kleiner, and I am Chesley Kleiner. You're Chesley. Well, you're Chesley Demosthenes. Well, could say you're Chesley Demosthenes Kleiner. Who was that Demosthenes? Demosthenes was a great orator. And so, it sounds like me. Chesley, you're sounding like you're a little arrogant and proud. No, I'm just helping myself to be encouraged. Oh, all right, but right now you need to go to bed. Next Sunday afternoon, are you going to be here to tell a Bible story? You feel cooling out of that nasty trunk? It isn't nasty. It's a nice clean trunk with the Texas termite. Chesley, good night. Tell everybody goodbye. It is not good night, it's daylight. Chesley, just say goodbye and you'll see them next Sunday. Good night, I'll see you next Sunday. I wish I could stay up, but you know how it is. They treat me like I'm just a dummy. Chesley, we'll see you next time. Good night.